think the integration of humans and machines, sometimes called singularity, is an idea in the offing, something still a ways away in the future. But that future is actually here now, with the advances in modern medicine and technology. Earlier in the series, we saw how medical science is manipulating human DNA from a man who has no pain receptors in an attempt to develop new pain meds. We saw how another man had a chip installed into his skull that helps him feel color. Something we seem to neglect is that humans fused with technology has been happening for quite some time. Just think something as simple as a hearing aid or a cochlear implant. My guest today, Michael Kouros, has a cochlear implant and is the author of the book Worldwide Mind: The Coming Integration of Humanity, Machines, and the Internet. Mike, thanks for joining us today. So I'd like to begin with this here. As humans become more and more dependent on technology, do you think this is actually weakening mankind?
No more than a shovel weakens the person holding it. We are as strong as our tools make us. So people do fear that technology is making us weaker, less willing to communicate, and these things do happen, but this is part of the process by which humanity develops. So our computers have not made us weaker. They've in fact made us much more capable of learning and teaching and communicating.
And from medical science, studying human DNA, as I just mentioned earlier, to develop pain meds, to humans choosing to implant machines into their bodies, is there an ethical line to cross? And if so, what is it, and where is that line?
I would say the line is more practical than ethical. So in my case, I went completely deaf and I had to get a cochlear implant, which is a computer surgically implanted in the skull. So for me, that was not an ethical question. It was get that, we're not here. I think that as the technology evolves, we will find the questions are more practical in terms of what are the risks of getting this kind of technology? What do they allow us to do? What kind of new powers do they give us? And do the risks, are those risks outweighed by the benefits?
If we should become part of a collective conscious, as your book presents, isn't there an inherent risk of losing freedom of choice or individuality, the very things that actually make us human, that make us different than animals?
Well, I would hope not. Okay, so technology always presents these kinds of risks. So think of the example where people invented automobiles. Had someone said at the very beginning, this technology is going to kill tens of thousands of people per year, do we really want to do this? The answer might have been no. But we accept those risks today in response for the trade-off that we get, the increased freedom of mobility. Now, as for the risk of a new kind of consciousness emerging, that's a very interesting question that I consider in my book. I think if such a consciousness emerges, it's going to look very different from what we think of as human executive capability, that is, a sense of I. You and I, we have a sense of self. We have a sense of I that thinks and makes plans and is conscious of itself. I think that that kind of thing is very, very far away. In the book, I talk about other forms of that kind of collective consciousness, which are more similar to what you see today with Google and Twitter and Facebook, which a lot of people call self-organizing systems. And these are things that we are definitely seeing happen now.
I wish we had more time to discuss. There's tons to unwrap here, but unfortunately that's all the time that we have.
We can go back over some of these questions in more detail if you would like.
Thank you so much for that. That was author of Worldwide Mind, Michael Kouros. Thank you for being with us today and sharing your insights.
We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.